Howdy ho, you guys. Welcome to the show. I have a great guest for you today, Miss Delana Veilleux. And again, subscribe to the channel and leave me a review on the pod. Enjoy.
Hi, my name is Delana Veilleux. I am the owner of That Stylist LLC, and you're watching Trendy with Kim Allison.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trendy with Kim Allison. And today's guest, Delana, and Delana is going to pronounce her last name for you guys at the end of this introduction because me and names, I'm the worst. But I reach out to stylists a lot on Instagram, and now I'm starting to go over to TikTok. But Delana caught my eye on Instagram, her work, her ink, all of it, all of her. And so I started following her, and I want to know more about your story, Delana, because I know you're an amazing stylist, but we're going to get into a little bit more behind the scenes so that we can get to know you a little better. So are you ready to get inspired, everybody? Delana, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So let's jump right in. Are you a shy one?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay. So that helps. It helps with the flow and people getting to know you because I'm an introvert that does very extroverted things. And, it's if you don't open your mouth, right? Nothing happens. The wheels don't turn.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, pretty much. So let's start off with your journey. First things first. I always love hearing how people landed in the beauty industry. And I always say, we don't find hair, hair finds us, right? So, how did you find hair? Were you always the one doing everyone's hair and makeup? Because you also do makeup, I know. Or did it hit you later?
So I actually started this industry doing makeup first.
Okay.
I was always into getting my hair and makeup done even when I was a kid because I did dance. So whenever it was the recitals, I was always so excited when my mom had to put lipstick on me.
Hilarious.
No, so when I was in high school, I really started getting into makeup. Like,
Okay.
the 2014, 2016 era for like the whole YouTube and everything.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the makeup I learned was self-taught, but at that time in high school, a lot of my friends were going to proms and doing this and doing that, and they wanted me to do their makeup. So I started doing their makeup for all the occasions. And then I remember a friend of mine that I'm actually still in touch with today said, you should be like making money from this. Like you could do this as a job. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think I could. Maybe not. Well,
Right.
I am now.
Right.
But I didn't really pursue hair until later on. I did try to go to college. I did that for 2 years. I actually went for music.
Really?
I actually was in the opera program. I was a vocal performance major.
So you can sing.
Yes.
Oh, you
But
should
it
give
was
us a bar. You should give us a bar.
maybe later, maybe a little pace at the end. We'll see.
Yeah. There you go. Get warmed up.
Yeah. But no, when I was in school in college, it was a lot of work, and I realized I was like, I don't know if I want to make this something that I have to do every single day for a living. I want to enjoy music. I didn't want to make it a job. So I dropped out, and I knew makeup was always on my mind. Even when I was at college, I was the hair and makeup for the opera program, pretty much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So whenever
So
we
it
had
was
like
always
recitals,
there.
yeah, when I had recitals and shows, I was the one doing everyone's makeup because I do special effects makeup too. So like, it was
When
always.
did you start? When did you start dance? How young were you?
I think I was like 4.
Oh wow.
I was like 2
Okay.
or 4 because my mom said I used to walk on my toes a lot, and then she put me in ballet.
So you're a performer, like all around. You're like a triple threat.
I mean, I guess yeah.
Yeah, you could do if you could do your own makeup, your own hair, put yourself together and perform. You're the whole package. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about your style, your signature style. Do you feel more creative, when because I know you have ink, your handle has ink in the name. You've curated, this persona, this hairstylist, makeup artist personality, which is you because it's innate. Do you feel more creative when you're working with color or makeup or both in hair?
I would probably say color for sure with
Okay.
hair. I feel more creative in that aspect because usually when it comes to makeup, like someone will show me a photo and I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, so like same thing when you consult for hair, you adjust
Yeah.
here and there for different eye shapes, skin tones, everything. Um, but I would definitely say with hair, it's a little bit more creative because there's more room because everyone's hair is different.
Yes.
There's more room for
Absolutely.
like playing around, I guess.
Yeah, very true. What look or color combo do your clients always ask for that you're kind of low key over it?
Mm, that's a tough one. I
I
don't
know,
know.
right? You don't want to say it, but I know there are some. What do you think though? Because lived in color has been around for, some stylists, the baby stylist, they came out of beauty school with lived in color, you know, and
Yeah,
so it's been around for a hot minute. Do you see it? Is that primarily what you do behind the chair?
pretty much. I
Mm-hmm.
think the majority of my clients are lived in. I think I
Yeah.
have maybe 2 clients that I'll do highlights to the root,
Okay.
and they'll come in, like, every, like, 6 to 8 weeks for, like, a little touch up here and there. But other than that, I try and convince them to lived in. I'm like, "You don't have to come in that often," but they like the idea of the maintenance.
Are they older by chance?
I would probably say they're in their 40s and 50s.
Yep. I know those to the roots. They're always older.
Yeah.
Because that's a look. You post a lot of transformations, I've noticed on your page, makeup and hair. What do people not see on social media that happens behind the scenes?
I mean, behind the scenes, besides, like, always looking up hair videos and stuff like that, like,
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of hobbies. The majority of my hobby is my career. So I'm always watching hair videos. I'm always trying to learn new things. I've been playing around with like AirTouch a lot to try and like amp up the experience for my clients. So it's really just like a lot of education, like whether it's classes online, YouTube videos, I'll find other Instagram like stylists and stuff like that to like learn from. But that helps me to be able to create those transformations because that's like my favorite thing to do.
No, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. If you want to be an expert at anything, you have to hone your craft. You have to work at it. So what do you with the educational videos and all of the are you doing AirTouch by yourself or are you doing it with an assistant?
I'm doing it by myself.
Because AirTouch, I've dabbled with it a couple of times and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I have to pick up this blow dryer and put it down, this is going to slow me down.
Yeah.
So I guess you have to, God, and it's beautiful though. Like it's so seamless. So do you give your clients like that heads up, like this is going to take, or does it take you any longer?
I definitely tell them it takes me a little bit longer. I give them a heads up
Okay. How much
because
longer does it take you from your normal lived in look?
I would say, let's say like a typical like lived in like full foil would take me about like an hour 15 to put in just because I'm a perfectionist. That's not, I'm not the fastest stylist either. Like I already know that.
That's
Um,
fast to me because I'm slower than that. I'm like, shoot, an hour? I wish.
but with air, like if I was to do like a full foil of like air touch, I think I just did it recently on a girl and like she didn't have like a thick head of hair, but she had fine hair. So I knew I had to take smaller sections. And I think that took me about 2 hours and like 15 minutes. I think it added about an hour.
And the
Um,
hair has to be dry in order to do an air touch. I don't think people realize that because I see people, I felt like I was like light bright. I see people, in my building doing air touch with dirty, it just looks like they're on the struggle bus. So I'm like, yeah, I think that's definitely it. Clean hair. You have to have clean hair.
yeah,
I,
I'll
I
actually always say that to my clients, especially new clients. I'll be like, come in with clean, dry hair. You can use your leave-in products, whatever you use, but like 1 day, 2 day hair max.
and who's your favorite educator?
Oh, I
Since
don't
you
know.
watch YouTube videos, you're watching somebody.
The first person that came to mind is a wild name, Bleach Daddy. She is,
Really? There's somebody named Bleach Daddy?
she is based in Canada.
How
But
cool is that?
she has a YouTube channel that I found years ago. Like I'm talking like COVID. And she does nothing but like color corrections, transformations, all that jazz. And she films all of it.
Wow.
She's incredible. Anytime
Yeah.
I'm like stuck on like a technique, then I'm like, oh, like I could do this, this, and that. I'll try and see if she has a video, and she has a video that just simplifies it.
Wow. That's good to know for
Yeah,
me
she's great.
because
We're gonna follow each other on Instagram now.
oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's so
made my day.
cool. That's so cool. I love that. Have you ever posted something, speaking of Instagram, and thought, why did that go viral instead of the thing that, you spent hours on?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. The wine rack I posted like a year ago,
Yes.
that blew up my Instagram. And I was like dumbfounded because it was literally just a wine rack stackable thing I bought on Amazon for like, I think like $10.
And you put what in it? Like
My
developer?
developer bottles.
Oh my gosh.
I
Uh,
literally, I put it in my cabinet because I was tired of all like the extra space at the top. And I was like, oh, like I could do this. And then I made a video, I posted it, and I did not expect it to get over 1 million views.
How
Behind
crazy is
It
that?
posted it, like all these other pages. And it was just like beside myself. I was like, okay, I have no makeup on in that video. My hair was brushed, it was dirty. Like it was such a quick thing I didn't even think twice about.
Well, that's what they say. Like, you never know. That's why you shouldn't try to go viral because if it's going to go viral, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know what
Yep.
I mean? So I get that. Let's talk makeup real quick. Do you have a go-to glam that you think works on everyone, no matter what the face, or do
I'm very,
you?
I'm very particular. I'll always play around with what their skin type is first. Um, I mean, most of the time brides will ask for the same thing, like something smoky but natural. So I'll have like one eyeshadow palette that I'll dabble into. That's just like a bunch of neutrals that I can work with different skin tones. But if I use like the same exact glam, it won't work for every single person, in my
Right.
opinion.
No, I agree. So when clients say natural, quote unquote, what do you know they really mean when they say that? Because do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I've been having a lot of prom girls as of late too. And they usually
Mm,
say the same thing. They'll say, I want
yeah,
something natural, and then show me a photo of something that's full glam.
right.
Yeah. Usually when they say natural, it's more so they don't want it to look cakey. They don't want it to look like they're wearing a lot of makeup, even though they may be, which is like a balancing act between using cream products, powder products. They still want to be able to see their skin underneath, but they want to make sure it's evened out. So I'll typically grab like a medium coverage foundation, and I'll usually use a lot of cream products typically, just because it looks more natural on the skin, especially as it wears through the day.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. And I get that too because I do a lot of brides, after they get their makeup done, they come and get their hair done and they're 25 years old, but they have these lines under their eyes because it's so caked with concealer.
Yep.
I'm like, you look 40. Like, why? I'm trying to get rid of those.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, having the right makeup artist is, oh man, it can make or break, even more than hair, I think,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Especially with weddings, because you're going to look back at those photos for your whole life.
Hmm.
Like it's so very particular. Whenever I have like trials for my brides, I always book them for like literally 3 hours because
Mm,
I tell them constantly, I want you to tell me if you don't like something
mm.
because now is the time.
Right. Not the day of.
Not the day of, not during it, being like, I don't like this. This is now the time to let me know if something doesn't work for you.
Yeah,
Because,
and bridal hair is so hard. I mean, it's easy, but so hard to,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's and I have this thing lately that I've been just kind of obsessing over is red carpet hair. To
okay,
me, it just looks like not much. I mean, I think all of the effort goes into the outfit. Maybe the makeup is second, but the hair, I'm like, it's beach waves. It's
yeah.
pulled back in a bun. Okay, got you. So, what do you wish more women knew about their own faces as we move away from makeup? When you get a client, they come in, and they're like, Delana, I want XYZ. What do you wish they understood about their skin or their face, shape, head, nose, eyes, anything?
Um, I would definitely say face shape in the sense of like where like their cheekbones are and everything. Cause a lot of people that I find will always have their contour bronzer too low. And then they'll be like, why do I look sullen? I look sad. I look hollow. I'm like, just a little bit higher. That's all you got to do. And then I probably say the eye shape. A lot of people don't really know their eye shape for things, especially when it comes to lashes.
Oh yeah, because they have those big rugs over their eyes.
Yeah.
If you have hooded eyes, I just don't think those, like, I have hooded eyes. I can't wear those big fluffy. It just right. You
Yep.
don't recommend that for people with hooded eyes.
Correct. I just had
Yeah.
a friend girl recently. She had hooded eyes and she liked the lashes that I had, but I told her, I was like, those are going to be too long for you. I showed her, I put them on. I was like, I'll do it. I'll show you, but I think they're going to be too long. I put them on, and because of her hooded eyes, when she looked up, they touched her eyebrow.
Oh
But they didn't look
Jesus.
that dramatic in the package. They didn't, but I was like, that's because you have hooded eyes. I was like, let's try these smaller ones.
And was she happy? Did she follow your lead?
Yes.
It's so hard too because people want what they want, you know? Maybe their friend had it, maybe they saw it in a magazine. It's like, yeah, but that ain't you, girl. Okay, so Delana, let's get into your work a little bit and jump back onto the hair side. First of all, before I show the people your work, which is amazing, and I pulled a couple of other clips of my own to kind of ask you questions about.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, what's your favorite kind of transformation? Blonding, bold color, lived in? What makes you excited?
Ooh. On God, I'm that person that I get excited about everything. I really do. Um, I mean, I always get excited when it comes to lived in color. I really do. It's so much fun because it's different for everyone. Sometimes people want to be super bright in the face frame. Sometimes they want it to look sun kissed and like super natural. So there's a lot of creativity that goes into it. So probably anything lived in from a balayage to like teasy lights, that kind of direction I get really excited about.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and I'm sure your clients love that too.
Yeah, they do.
Uh-huh. Okay, so let's talk about this post that you sent me.
So I actually had this client come in. She was just a root color retouch. That's what we do. But I recently got a box from Cosmoprof. They were so kind to send me, and I wanted to use a bunch of the products that they sent. So I used all their Joico products from the moisture recovery to the leave-in, and the blowout cream is like my favorite. I literally have it next to me still. But
Really?
this client had very thick, coarse hair, and I was really interested in how these products would work for her. And I was personally like dumbfounded when I was done. She had so much shine back into her hair. Like I haven't seen her hair like that since I've been doing it. And her hair felt so soft. I was so excited for her.
I have that in my salon. I'm toying with Joico. I like their color for sure. The gloss, I
Mhm.
love that. Um and I do a multicultural clientele. I don't find it's very hydrating for black hair per se, not the
Mhm.
color black, but the race. And but it's amazing on European texture. It's
Yeah.
really, really nice and that has that slippage that you're looking for. Okay, let's jump into this one and you can walk us through.
Oh yeah, this was a long project. She was actually my client I was doing a global blonde on, and she wanted to grow it out to do lived in. In the process of telling her to wait, I was like, it's too soon. We need more root. She ended up going somewhere else, which I will never crucify my clients for, by all means. If you come back, that's great. If you go somewhere else, that's okay. I'm always here for you. She came back and she had a little funky things going on. She had some low lights that were brought down only in the back and then none in the front, but she had a root smudge and the highlights weren't brought up in the right areas. So I figured the only way for me to really go in and add the right amount of depth was to do AirTouch. That way she can still stay blonde without feeling too dark, but I was able to blur all those lines that I had to from what she had done.
Wow. You know what? You're kind. I think that's a great response to allow her to come back with her effed up color correction situation. Hopefully she's not watching or the
No,
stylist who did it, but she came back to you after not following your directive. I
yeah,
think that would be the part for me where I'm like, now I got to clean up this whole ass mess. But you did a great job, and
thank you.
AirTouch, that's a very clever way to use AirTouch. You know,
Yeah,
um, it just muted out everything.
yeah, no, it was like the perfect way to do it. Ironically enough, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about YouTube and that account Bleach Daddy. She actually had a
Ah,
video using reverse air touch. And when I saw that, I was like, that is a genius idea to do for this client. And lo and behold, she
and
came back and
there
that all
you needed
happened.
it.
So I was like, perfect. I'm like, this
So
is
how do you feel about the alternative to AirTouch where you can back comb, you can kind of tease the dark up? Has that worked for you? I
yes.
don't find it works very well for me, or maybe I'm positioning the comb too far down. I don't know.
So whenever like I'll do teasing, I'll actually like have like the section just straight clean all the way to like down. I'll take the comb, I'll actually comb the hair down and then comb up once.
Got you.
That tends to make the tease actually go up and it's a lot easier to take out.
Gotcha.
Um, but even so, when I do teasy lights and stuff like that, I feel so bad when I'm brushing their hair at the sink every time. Even if they tell me it doesn't hurt,
I
I
know.
like, am I hurting you? And they're like, no, you're fine. They're like, I'm more aggressive. I'm like, okay, but like, I need to know if I'm hurting you.
Right.
And then I had like
Yeah, because
two
we don't.
times they're tender headed, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
crap, okay. I'm like, I gotta comb you though.
I know, and they keep saying there's a way to backcomb it where you don't get any tangles, but
It's hit or
there's
miss.
always one.
Yeah,
There's always one in there.
yeah,
Okay, I'm going to jump into this one. You can walk us through. That's
yeah.
so simple.
Such a simple, quick little thing that a lot of people don't think about. Um,
Ever. Like
ever.
ever.
Yeah, literally ever. Like, no,
Myself included.
I don't think anyone in my salon has oiled their shears or even has oil for their shears, to be quite honest.
Yep.
Um, but I've been working with shark fin for a couple years now, and this was like my favorite tip and trick for people. Even when the girls at the salon are saying, "Oh, like I need to get my shears sharpened," I'm like, "When's the last time you did it?" And they're like, "Oh, like maybe like less than a year ago." I'm like, "When's the last time you oiled them?" And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Give me your shears. Give them to me. I'll oil them. The next time they start cutting, it feels like they just got them sharpened."
Shot it.
Yeah, I swear. It's think of like I think in that caption too, I even explained a motor for a car, like an engine, you need oil in it for everything to move properly. You need a lubricant. Same thing with our shears. If like why we cut hair wet because there's a lubrication for it. But
Right.
over time, that water is not going to do enough for the metal. In between, for like the metal itself, like you need that little extra oil, that little slide, so the metal isn't sliding on top of metal and grinding away at it, which is dulling your blades in a shorter period of time versus longer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as a specialist in cutting, like myself, I have so many high end shears. I have a rotation, so my dumbass, yeah. Do I know to oil them? Yeah, but I just move to the next year. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll just use this one. I'm like, you're so dumb. Like I know better, and that's why when we talk about beauty schools going away. They should never go away because they are the place that you learn those fundamentals that people don't want to start from there when they're educating you. They don't want to teach you how to hold the shear. They don't want to teach you how to, apply color, section hair. They don't necessarily want to start there. They want you to kind of know that already, right?
Mm,
And then we can go into giving you the technique. I don't know. There's a big debate right now about beauty schools, and everybody says, well, I didn't learn anything. No, you don't learn practical skills so much, real world stuff, but you learn foundational skills that every stylist has to know. For
yeah.
one, sanitation, who nobody does. And if they say they do it, they're lying. People don't sanitize shit like they're supposed to. They do not. they're not sanitizing every single comb. I mean, they're not. I know they're not, but beauty school teaches you sanitation. That's important.
Yeah, no, it's extremely important. I'm such a
Mhm.
sucker for keeping everything clean and organized.
Because you have your own salon.
So I rent a chair. So
Oh,
we
in a
don't
salon.
in a salon, yeah. The salon I work at, there's like 20 of us.
Got
There's a lot
you.
of us.
But
But
you all have your own businesses because you're booth
exactly.
renters. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. And we'll get into that just a little bit toward the end. Um, do you ever get clients who sit down and say, "Do whatever you want"? Is that most of your clientele now, or are they bringing you in inspo pics mostly?
I feel like it's a lot more of just do whatever you want. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
lie. I mean, when they say that though, I kind of tiptoe because
Mhm.
I could do whatever I want, but it may not be what you think you want. If
Mhm.
that makes sense. So I'll
Mhm.
be like, all right, let me pull up a picture of what I think would be great for you. And then
Mhm.
I'll try and find something what I'm thinking, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's a little light," or it's a little dark." You know, it's like you kind of still consult with them in a way. But the good amount of my clients are like, just do whatever, just fix me. Is
Yeah.
usually what they say.
Yeah, yeah, and we as stylists know better than to just do whatever we want. We have
Yes.
to do a consultation with you because one thing wrong, that's all you'll ever remember, not
Yep.
all of the things we did right.
Yep.
And the best piece of advice that I got, I don't know how long, I didn't even ask you. How long have you been in the industry?
5 years.
5. Oh, I love it. You're doing amazing.
Thank you.
So, yeah, for me, it's 29. And
Hmm.
so the best piece of advice that I got early on was your clients aren't your friends. You may have the best rapport. You may, just, oh my God, we have so much fun, but mess up their hair and see how friendly they are. That's
Yep.
when you're clear on what your relationship is. They're there to get their hair done first and foremost. And then if we can kiki after, great. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think a lot of times stylists get too comfortable and they stop asking questions, and the do
Yeah.
whatever you want doesn't literally mean do whatever you want. Because if you shave their hair bald, they'd be mad.
Yeah. No, no,
So,
absolutely. I completely agree with that. There's a fine line of being friends and friendly.
hmm
That's the way
yeah,
I
and that's the other thing too, right? How how much of your personal life spills, into your chair, or for you, are you keeping those boundaries?
I will share some things with some clients, but most of the time I pretty much keep my boundaries. Like if they ask me like how was my weekend, then like I'm gonna be like, oh, like I did this, this, and this. Like I'll tell them things like that. But like if I'm personally going through something with like my boyfriend or my family or like something happens or anything like that, then I may not share that because that's not something I'm gonna trauma dump on them when they just want to come in and get their hair done. You know,
Yeah. hmm
there's a fine line. You know.
You'd be
But yeah,
surprised how
most of the
many
time I just
people, yeah, most people want you to trauma
yeah.
dump. They really do. They
Yeah.
want,
Yeah, I'm not good.
and you're like, I'm not here for your entertainment, sis. I get it, and I get mad at myself because sometimes I will trauma dump, not wanting to or meaning to, but I just do. And then 8 weeks later, when you come back, you're asking me to for a follow up, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to tell you. I don't even know why I told you in the first place.
Yeah, I've done that.
You
That's
have,
my ADHD for you.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What do your clients know about you that your followers don't? Anything?
I drop everything. Everything. I am
Literally.
so klutzy. Literally everything. My clients count with me. Like it's bad.
Oh,
It's a very random fact, but yeah, I'll like throw combs like by accident. Like it'll just go right out of my hand. Clips, like brushes for my bowl, you name it.
that's funny. So what salon are you in? You're in Connecticut. I know that. What city are you in? What's the name of your salon?
So I rent a booth at Main and Co Hair Lounge in Glastonbury, Connecticut.
Okay. And you said there's 20 girls in there. You guys all rent booths?
Pretty much. I think there's like two or three that are commissioned. I'm not sure. There might be like two, but the majority of us are all booth renters.
Yeah, and then swinging back to the salon again, because everybody went salon suites, and I feel like the big salon is making a comeback. Do you feel that at all?
I do.
Have you ever been in a suite?
Nope. Never been in a suite. I've always worked next and like around people. And I may be an introvert, but I'm also kind of an extrovert. So like in my work environment, I like knowing that like I'm around other people besides just my client. It's a lot more energy, like positive vibes. That's all I really need that. I don't think I could just do hair by myself in a room. I feel like
You
I
know
just get
what?
like,
That makes sense. And you feed off of each other.
yeah, exactly.
Do you have that friendly environment where you guys can ask each other anything, or do you have gatekeepers?
Oh no, I'm so glad to be at the salon that I'm at. And I already know that the owner is going to be watching this too, but I am very glad to be there because we don't deal with any drama. None of us.
Really?
We will help whoever we need to, whenever we need to, if we can. If someone's running behind, we'll run and help that person pull dry if we have to. Like if someone needs help with the formula, like I've been grabbed for someone to help like with like a copper, or I'll actually run and grab her for like a blonde toner and be like, hey, I'm thinking this, but I don't know, so it's really nice being able to feed off of each other. Even when we're doing highlights or balayage, we'll be like, ooh, how are you doing that? So
No,
it's
I
really
love
cool.
that. I That's the environment I started in. I'm in a studio now, but it's because I've been in it for so long and I'm on my way out. But all of the salons that I've owned, booth renters working as a unit, as a team under the salon name. Nobody would ever know that we were all working for ourselves because we always worked as a team.
Yep.
So I commend the owner of your salon for being able to curate or cultivate that type of environment, because it's not easy to bring a bunch of women, gays and theys, men all together and work in harmony. That is not easy, you know? And
Yeah.
one little cancer can ruin the whole. And so you, just as much as you have to hire the right person, you also have to know when to let go of the right person. You know,
Yep.
some people have to go. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would love at some point to. I've been thinking about that, doing a series on with salon owners and just kind of sharing their experience and wisdom and all that type of thing and getting their story. So I'll probably ask you who owns your salon when we're done with this, because it'd be neat to talk to her. All righty. What
Yeah,
interests do you
definitely.
have? Yeah. Do you have any interest outside of work? Like when you're not doing makeup and posting and working behind the chair, what are you doing?
Usually, especially around the spring and summer, I'm always with a book. I'm a bookworm. We all are at the salon, actually. So usually during the spring and summer, you'll see all of us sitting outside reading. But even when I have like a day off, I'll just be laying out in the sun in my backyard with a book, and I'm just like, I'll just sit here for hours.
I love your life.
Um, other than
I love your
oh my
life.
gosh.
That
I
what are
mean,
you reading currently?
yeah.
What are you reading?
Okay, so I have like two books I'm reading. So I have a textbook that I'm reading actually, and then I also have a fiction. The fiction I'm reading is the second book of The Housemaid from Frida McFadden.
Okay.
I read the first one in like 2 days. The second one I'm in right now. The textbook I'm reading is actually on neuromarketing. So I guess it's still kind of work related, but
Tell me about that one a little bit. Like neuromarketing. Just
so
how you should think about marketing. What does that mean?
actually, yeah, it's like the psychology behind marketing. So for me, I felt like a lot of the things I didn't learn in cosmetology school was how to market myself. How do I get new clients? Like they didn't really teach us that. They kind of just said, "Oh, you're going to be commissioned, so you don't got to worry about it." So like they weren't wrong, but like to an extent, like I still got to know, even if I am commissioned. But to each their own. But yeah, this book is about the psychology of marketing, the why and the influences of how people, like how consumers make purchases. So whether they're thinking in their head, like, how people think, oh, like that's too much for like highlights in their head. Like they're thinking, oh, 150, not $250. Like, that's too much. There's a phenomenon called an anchor. They have like an anchor pricing in their head that they think that this is how much that should be, and that's it.
Yep.
That's how you got to kind of finagle and change their mind and be like, okay, well, that's that price for what you think, but for this, 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 and this, and this. And they kind of teach you how to like go about changing their mind. And then they talk in the book too, they talk about packaging and how some people do what's called like a decoy package, meaning like this package may not be as ideal, but this one's gonna be better. But you didn't really, it wasn't the priority to have someone pick that package. You wanted them to pick the other one.
100%.
So there's a lot of like advertising and like how like it's just different chapters of it. But I just find it fascinating. I'm a weirdo.
No, it's definitely all of those skills are required. I know that game for sure. You always have your 3-tiered price system because they're always going to pick the middle.
Yep.
Not too high, not too low, but the middle is the actual price.
Yep.
That's the trick, right?
Exactly.
Do you follow Chris Do?
No, I don't.
He is amazing. If you are reading that book, follow Chris Do on YouTube, Instagram, or listen to his podcast, whatever you want to do. He is a master at marketing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's really expensive. I can't afford to take his class, but I mean, I'll take everything he gives me for free because he's seriously like, he's genius. I love him. And he always gives me a quote that it just sticks in your head. You know, he talks about, you know, how people are afraid of AI and, you know, the wave or it taking over people, whatever, which you know, he says, can't do anything about anything. You know, the ocean is the ocean. You have to learn to surf. And I love that because that resonates. You know, whatever the situation is, you have to learn how to move in whatever the situation is. And a lot of people, they fall so far behind that for that reason, they're just stubborn. They're just unwilling to progress, you know?
Yeah.
And you, in our industry, you certainly can't do that. No, ma'am. So what's something you're working on behind the scenes right now, professionally or personally, as we close?
There's actually 2 things. One,
I love that. Do tell. I'm so nosy. Do tell.
One I can't talk about yet.
Okay, that's exciting.
There's something behind the scenes that some of my clients know, but I'll tag you when it all happens.
I cannot wait. That you just hooked me for real.
It's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so happy for you in advance.
Thank you. I'm very excited about it. But other than that, I don't know. For me, I'm just always really looking for the ideal client experience. Personally, that's usually what people may not see behind the chair or like for me, like on Instagram and stuff. But I'm always looking like, okay, I'm doing this, this, and this, but how can I make it better for them? How can I make it feel like it's worth coming to me? If that makes sense. Hopefully
100%.
Whether it's like a scalp massage or an extra treatment, or I mean, for me, I did like welcome packets for new clients that included coupons for like their second and third visit because I wanted them to come back. Because for me, it's not really like it's hit or miss whenever you can get a first time client. It's either are they going to come back or they're not. Sometimes they need like that second or third to really get to know you and like how it's going to go for them to keep consistently coming back. So like I'll work on things like that. So like a lot of marketing stuff. I told you my whole life revolves around my job. I don't.
You know what? That's why you're going to be.
This is how I am.
You're going to be so successful. You're going to be more successful 5 years from now than you are now. I'll tell you that because you have the right mindset. You're going above and beyond. Nobody, you know, who's printing out coupons? Nobody, except if you're doing that, they're going to remember you. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they saw you on Instagram and then they came in and got their hair done and that's the experience. People feel that, and you're an amazing stylist, but you could be a mediocre stylist and have a a following greater than the best stylist if you have consistency, if you have memorable experiences for your clients, even if they just like you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's amazing, you know? I love that.
One
Yay. And
one of the biggest things, like, I stand by is that people book with people. That's
yes,
it.
they do.
People will book with you for you, not just
Yep.
your work. Obviously, your work is good too, but they'll book with you for you. If you're mean one day or cranky, they're not gonna come back, even if you gave them the best hair of their life.
Yep. It's
That's
true.
just how
And
I
a
see
lot
it.
of stylists, I found I think that the pendulum is swinging back the other way, but a lot of stylists were starting to have the mindset of you should be lucky to be in my chair. You should be lucky. No, stylist, you're lucky because what you're doing today is going to be old tomorrow and they may find somebody else. They can go to anybody. They don't have to go to you.
Yeah.
So, you know,
No, absolutely.
yeah, I would love to do a master class, I swear, because some of the things I have seen and heard, good gracious.
Yeah.
Whew. Well, I'm glad you have exciting things in the works. That is, I will be watching for sure. Super excited for you. If you could tell, Delana, if you could tell your day one self anything, what would it be?
Probably to stand up for myself. I always had a hard time, and I still do, standing up for myself. I made a post recently about things that cosmetology schools haven't taught, or like what they didn't teach me. One in particular of like toxic work environments, and that really is what like I think about just now. It's like I wish I stood up for myself more when I wasn't in a good salon environment, you
Yeah.
know, or
Mhm.
if I was in cosmetology school and I had those specific clients that weren't happy with things, you know, I wish I like stood my ground and be like, you know what, I'm learning. I'm going to keep getting better. You know, I'm not going to just cower and just like cry, you know, like I just wish I stood up for myself a little bit more.
Yeah,
Stand,
no,
keep
yeah,
going.
that's important. Yeah, because we teach people how to treat us, right? So if you know, I was like that when I was probably around your age, and it is a form of it feels rather to the introvert like a form of bullying almost when you can't stand up for yourself, right? When you have
Yeah.
a energy that's so much greater than yours that you don't know what to do with it. You know, you're just like, that's why you cower because you're like, oh, ugh, this is, I don't have the bandwidth. I don't even, because
Yeah.
I'm not like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you want to go back, you're in the car and you're like, yeah. And another thing, you're in the car by yourself though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the next time, and you're like, yeah. So nobody heard that though, but me. So
Yeah.
no, but yeah, I got stronger. And now I'm so strong that people are like, calm down, girl. I'm like, I know. Like I'm unhinged. So they're like, girl, like I liked you better when you were a little softer. I'm like, shoot, you guys made me this way. I mean, but I never want to lose that. Right. You don't want to lose it completely, that part of you.
Yeah.
While at the same time, you're like, how dare you? You know?
Yeah. There's definitely a balancing part of it, but there's like, I shouldn't have dealt with everything I did. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's like sometimes that I wish that I was like, oh, like I should have said that, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think about it after, and then like that time comes and I still don't do it, you know?
Still don't do it.
5 years later, now I'm able to feel comfortable enough to set boundaries, to say no to people and say no to clients if I have to. So I wish I just learned that a little sooner to save myself some grace, but it's okay.
Nope, but you wouldn't have been who you were today had you learned it, you know? And it's like,
Exactly.
did you have what do you find that gives you the courage now? Like that you didn't have before? What do you think now that you know what you know 5 years later, what was it that was missing that you've now added um to, just the way you move in the world?
I think my confidence has changed a lot, only because I am notoriously hard on myself. Even if I finish a client's hair and I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful, they love it, they could be so happy. But in my head, if I know that like, oh, I should have done like this would have made it perfect. But it still is perfect. I'm very, very hard on myself. And I have my boyfriend to thank for that he constantly tells me, stop. It's beautiful. You're okay. Stop beating yourself up for something. You'll do better another time in the future. So over time, when I would catch myself beating myself up, I would have to reassure myself, be like, no, it's okay. And then my confidence started building up. I started being happier with the results I was getting, how my clients felt afterwards. I stopped worrying about the very, very little details that may have bothered me. And throughout like the 5 years I've been doing this, with my confidence going up, I'm happier behind the chair, I guess I would say.
Oh, I love that.
I would say I'm a lot happier. Yeah.
And I'm glad you have
Honestly,
your boyfriend.
I kind of forgot the question.
No, that was the question. That was. I was just digging a little deeper into what's different now. What did you find? You know, because it's our superpower when we figure things out, right? That little piece, that little nugget, if we know what it is, it's empowering. And you can pass it on to someone else.
For me, it was him.
For
me, it was him.
Aww.
Other people find it in other things, but I mean, for me, it was my boyfriend. But for other people, it could be like your significant other. It could be a family member. You know, I mean, I always recommend going back to people. It's not always about how you're doing something to build your confidence. Sometimes it's the people around you that can help you build your confidence.
Yeah. And we all suffer a little from imposter syndrome. I've had people that are highly, highly, you know, at the highest level on this podcast, and they still say, I have imposter syndrome, you know?
Yeah.
It's I'm not enough. It could have been better. I think that's a great trait to actually have as a creative, because it can always improve. That leaves you room to create. If you think you have everything figured out, you don't know nothing. That's what I say.
I feel like I still don't know nothing.
You don't know nothing.
Nope.
Exactly. Seriously. So where do you see yourself evolving in the next year as we wrap?
Ooh. In the next year, I mean, I would hope to be nominated for another award. I think that'd be really cool.
Do you do the one shot?
Yeah.
Nice.
One shot, the Masters of Balayage. I got nominated for both one point, but it'd be cool to be nominated again.
Oh, I love that. I just went to.
Oh, I need to win. Like, I don't need that. I want to be nominated.
Well, to be nominated is to be recognized.
Exactly.
You know, I went to the Behind the Chair Trends Report 2025 show in Miami. And I met Mary Rector. She created Behind the Chair.
Yeah.
And of all the things that I've heard, you know, here and there and everywhere, I always like to form my own opinion based on a personal experience. And she's nothing like I expected it would be based on what everything has been, what's been told to me, right? Nothing bad. It's just that I didn't think that she would be so down to earth and approachable, but she is. And she's very grateful. Yeah, she's very grateful to all of the stylists that have helped her build her platform. And she was self-deprecating, and just humility was in the forefront, which I love a humble human being.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it was nice. All right, nobody gets out of here without my 60-second blowout. That is my rapid fire, where you have 1 minute. I'm going to blast you with questions. You give me one-word answers. Quick, quick, quick. Nobody knows you better than yourself, so I know you're going to do great. And now I actually get to see. This is also my favorite part. I'm like, oh, gosh, thank you. I have to pretend like I can see for an hour. Now I can actually see. All righty. So I am going to set the timer, Delana, and then we go. Blowout or air dry?
Blowout.
First tattoo?
My wrist. Music.
Red lip or nude gloss?
Nude gloss.
Most used emoji.
The crying laughing emoji.
Go-to coffee order.
Caramel iced coffee.
Flat iron or curling wand.
Curling wand.
Client you'll never forget.
Like a name?
Mm-hmm.
Angie.
Most random thing in your bag right now.
That's a great question. A tire pressure sensor checker.
Hilarious. Extension queen or color blend master.
Color blend master.
Makeup product you refused to skip.
Mascara.
Last show you binge watched.
I gotta think of this one. Crap. I don't know.
You're like, I read. I don't binge watch.
No, I do binge watch.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Hair trend you wish would disappear.
Choppy layers.
Ding, ding. You got it. And me, it's the jellyfish layers. I'm like, please go away forever.
Yeah.
I really don't like those.
No.
They look pretty. People do a good job at them. I just hate them.
Yes.
You know? That's all.
Yes.
Thank you, Delana, for coming and spending your hour with me. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. It was fun.
And when you glow up with whatever this is that you have coming, hopefully I can have you back on later on down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be cool.
All right. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.